Hello, true believers. It's Matt here from Heroes for Hire Comic Club, and I'm back with another new comic review. Comic review today. Well, I said that twice, but new comic review today for you guys. And today I have probably my most bizarre comic review yet. Bizarro Year None, issue 1. It is written by Kevin Smith and Eric Carrasco. Art by Nick Pitarra. And I gotta say, let's just dive right into it right now. Of course, everybody knows who Bizarro is. He is the opposite of Superman in every way, right? Well, in this one, it says the title line says the not so secret origin of Superman's bestest enemy. So, of course, he's like the complete opposite of all Superman. And we open up, and there's like a picture of like a newspaper floating, a Daily Planet newspaper floating through the recesses of space. Also, we get another advertisement for the new Superman, Spider-Man, which I will be doing. I'll be doing a review of that later. That'll be an extended review. We also have the cover artist is Nick Pitarra, Mike Garland. We also have some variants which I do not have, and the colorist is Michael Garland, and the letter is Dave Sharp. So we open up. Then after we see that floating in space, we see Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen. And he's going on a coffee run because he's not really a cub reporter or a photographer for the Daily Planet yet, but he's like an intern that goes to fetches coffee and donuts. And you see there's been some kind of like thing going on. Like you see like a gear, and then we get to the next page, which is brilliant. And there's a big giant toy soldier with a bayonet sticking through the Daily Planet. So the toy man has attacked. And there's like after this, and the windows busted out, you see a big bayonet sticking through, and Perry White's still holding court, trying to get everything done, and everybody's freezing because it's like 10 below or something outside. It's cold, like a wind chill. They're on the top building there. So he's spitballing ideas of what their headlines are going to be, and okay, now the first thing I will say is that you're expecting a Bizarro book. It's kind of weird that we start out with all this history of the Daily Planet and stuff. And I will say this: if you're into action and not words, Kevin Smith, I feel like Kevin Smith and Eric Carrasco are a little wordy here, but Kevin Smith's always a little wordy. And if you haven't seen any of his movies, then you wouldn't realize he is rather wordy. If you've seen his movies, you would know that. But they're talking about this Superman toy man attack a little bit, and so then you see Superman comes out and he's pulling the toy man away, and the toy man's big toy soldier away. Well, Jimmy Olsen said, "Who took all these pictures?" So they see all these pictures of the action, and he's like, "Who took these pictures? I need this guy." And they find out, and they tell Perry that it's Jimmy Olsen. So Jimmy Olsen's like, he's been wanting to get a job with him. And what's funny is like the window busted out from the toy soldier, pigeons all over, and so him and Perry White have this funny conversation. And like Perry White tells him stuff like, by age of 5, I was already a member of the Newsboy Legion. And like, so like you see all these guys like Cat Grant, they're repeating what he's going to say to them because they've heard Perry say all this stuff to them before. And he's trying to say the old line cliches to Jimmy Olsen. And he doesn't want Jimmy Olsen. And all at the same time, one of their reporters is going to go to this guy in Hobbs Bay, Professor David Dalton, who's using a duplicator ray. He's trying to do this duplicator ray thing, right? Well, it comes back, he opens up a portal, and they think Superman flies out, but it's not really Superman. And then there's a funny little thing that'll come back later to kind of bite Perry in the ass when he says, "Kid," you see, because Jimmy Olsen's like, you're ever the editor," he says, "if I was the editor of the Daily Planet," and Perry White cuts him off and says, "If you're ever the editor of the Daily Planet, then I will get your copy, kid." And then they get pulled out of the elevator, like the elevator cable pulls them out by the elevator cable, and it looks like a Superman type character is dragging them, and he drags them into the portal and they disappear. And then they wake up and they see this guy, and he looks a little bit like Superman, but it's not Superman. It is, of course, Bizarro. And he's like, he brings them into Bizarro world. They're like, "Where are we at?" So when we get into Bizarro world here, he's made a copy of Metropolis in his own image, right? And he tells them he is a 12th level. I'm a 12th level intellect from a parallel reality known as You can't really say the word. And then because Perry's like, what the hell does that mean? So he takes him around his copy of the Daily Planet, and then you see you get in here like his Bizarro cat Grant is making copies of her butt on the Xerox machine, and then he goes into this vault and calls this a sacred text. So back to that newspaper that we saw floating in space. So they found it, and it's his sacred text. It's like their Bible to them, right? So anyway, they're like, they thought this had been destroyed or vaporized. He said, I thought Dalton vaporized this copy of the Daily Planet. And he says, your paper wasn't destroyed, Mr. White. Your paper created my world. So Perry White already gets off the wrong foot with him. He's like, what kind of backwards thinking is this? You want us to do this? He goes, Mr. White, I don't want you to be the editor. Jimmy Olsen's like, says some clever things. And so he makes Jimmy Olsen the editor of the Bizarro World Daily Planet and tells Mr. White to go get his copy. And then we end up, you see the end of this world. It's almost flat. It's not round, so it's even more bizarre. So apparently Jimmy Olsen and Perry White are going to be stuck in this world working at the Bizarro World Daily Planet. So I will say this about this book. It started out slow. I hope I didn't give too much away this time. I feel like I gave too much. Well, anyway, it's still, you need to read it to believe it because it is pretty bizarre and strange. Now, I will say this. I didn't understand why they're doing all this Daily Planet stuff. And if you're into Superman book, Superman, I don't think is going to be appearing in this book much. So if that's a problem for you, and if you don't like a lot of wordy writing in the style of Kevin Smith, you may not like it. But actually, after about 12 pages, it kind of grew on me after I saw where it was going. Because the first you're like, why are they talking about all this Daily Planet stuff? Where's Bizarro? I thought we were talking about Bizarro, right? But anyway, when it gets going and you realize what's going on, it's actually pretty interesting and quirky and fun. So I think I will be picking up issue 2 of Bizarro Year None. And if you're into quirky stuff and Superman side characters and you don't really care that Superman's not in the book, I can recommend it for you. If you just want for a fun read, then I recommend it too. As long as you're not really offended or intimidated by a lot of words, because there's a lot of words in this book, which that doesn't bother me. I read a lot of James Tinney and stuff, so a lot of words doesn't really bother me. But yeah, I recommend it. I give this one a thumbs up, and I think it's worth a pick up. Even though it is, like I said, this is probably the most bizarre comic review I've ever recorded so far. But hey, it's still early on, so we'll find out. Well, thanks for watching. Please hit the like button, and if you're not subscribed, here's for hire. Please subscribe. I'm about 3 subscribers away from 700. I'll be doing a nice little giveaway for 700 subscribers. So anyway, thanks for watching, and until next time, and if you've read Bizarro Year None issue 1, let me know in the comments what you thought of it. But until next time, true believers, Excelsior!
Come, son of Jarrell, kneel before Zod! Snoochie boochies.